Hello and welcome back to our latest edition of West Coast XE. I'm your host, Ken Martinez. If you are watching this, that means you're watching on YouTube. If you would please subscribe, that helps us quite a bit. We're gaining some followers. We're getting some momentum here. We appreciate all our viewers on YouTube and also our listeners on Apple Podcast and Spotify. If you can follow, that would be great. Receiving lots of really nice comments at the meets we've been going to in the last month from people, thanking us for doing this. And we really enjoy doing it and bringing you all the information about the athletes here on the West Coast. We saw a bunch of other athletes from the West Coast and all over the United States at NXN. And I interviewed Russell Moore, our photographer from Washington. He came down to take pictures of NXN. Beautiful photos. Right below my chin here is Todd's Instagram account. You can check out his photos. And you can go to his bio too on Instagram and check out his galleries from NXN and from previous meets that he's gone to in the state of Washington. I took pictures also. My daughter Anna was with me too. So we had two cameras on the course. And so hopefully we're able to get a picture. If you ran at NXN, you were able to get a picture of yourself racing. We tried our best. And that's on our Instagram account at West Coast XE. You can click on our bio or go to our website at westcoastxe.com. After the meet was, the boys' meet was ending, I bumped into a couple of our West Coast athletes. I talked to Cohen Butler of Camas High School. He had just finished, and I wanted to ask him how his race went. So you'll hear that interview. And then after that, I talked to Jaden Warner of Warrenton, Oregon, and asked him about his race. He had a really great race. He finished 8th. He was the top athlete from the West Coast, and he got All-American honors, second team All-American honors. So congratulations to Jaden there. So let's hear from Cohen and Jaden. I'm with Cohen Butler of Camas High School, representing the Northwest. So you just finished your first NXN. What did you think?
It's a crazy race. There's definitely nothing that compares to it. I had a blast the whole weekend. Even if it wasn't the race I wanted, I still had so much fun down here.
It's a little bit disorienting having so many guys around you.
Yeah.
So it's a little strange.
Yeah.
So what were you hoping for?
I mean, I was hoping for an All-American finish, maybe even getting up there in the top 10. I just kind of had some injuries going into this, and training these past couple weeks hasn't gone great. So I was kind of out here to just have fun today and do the best I could, and I feel like I accomplished that.
Excellent. Well, congratulations to you, and go Camas Papermakers.
Yeah.
I'm with Jaden Warner of Warrenton of the Northwest. How'd it go today?
Great. I'm blessed to be out here. This was awesome. This was exciting. I'm excited that I get to compete at NXN and have a great race, represent Northwest in the small town of Warrenton, Oregon, and be with the Northwest team. I couldn't have been more thankful and more glad I got to be here.
And how was your whole week?
Great. I think preparing for this, I was excited, but I've never been more nervous in my life. This was definitely an exciting event. As a senior, it's my first and last time I ever get to run this, so I was like, I got to make it wild, and I'm excited that I get to be here. Like, this was awesome, to be with the team and racing hard, and I knew that I was going to have to throw down to be in that front pack.
We look forward to seeing you during track season, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Well, we're happy to have Russell Moore here. Hey, Russell.
Hi.
Russell is our ace photographer out of Olympia, Washington. He was at NXN, and he's on this week to talk about NXN. But before, Russell, we go to NXN, I want to introduce you to our audience. How did you get involved taking pictures of cross country and track meets?
Well, I have a 16-year-old who is at Olympia High School, and he joined the cross country team his freshman year. He kind of followed me around running, and so I kind of followed him around running. And I like taking photos, so I mean, naturally, took a camera to a meet, and it just kind of snowballed from there. So now it's just a thing. Yeah.
Before you did cross country and track meets, and what did you take pictures of, and what do you take pictures besides cross country and track meets?
Well, I do a lot of like e-commerce photos, product photography and stuff like that. And I do some automotive photography for work. I do some video stuff for work. But I've I really enjoy taking pictures of people.
Yeah.
Rather than inanimate objects. It's a little bit different. You know, you have to be a little bit more social, but yeah.
Well, I want to also hype your photos. They're amazing. I was on your blog looking at NXR Spokane, and I'm just like, I was standing next to you for many of those photos, and my photos do not look like your photos. They're beautiful. You have a really good eye for taking pictures, and so I'm going to say something here. Below my chin, you'll see Russell's website that you can go to and check out his photos. But the other thing I want you to check out is he's has a blog that he's been working on recently, and he did a really great write up on Seahome Girls that we'll be talking about Seahome pretty soon in NXN. It's fantastic. Great photos, great writing, great graphics. Did you enjoy your interaction with Seahome and preparing that?
Yeah, it was it's funny. I initially was just gonna write a little story, and then you know the more time I have to work on something, the more I'll start poking holes in it. And so I was, you know, decided to start reaching out to some of the kids on the team, and um, I think there were three of them who had public profiles where I could actually contact them, and I just sent them a message and said, "Hey, I'm doing a piece on the team," and then I you know, and they happily responded to me. They all seemed very excited to do it and talk about their teammates. And then I reached out to a couple coaches and things like that. And Meg from Gig Harbor High School, her first job was under Kevin Ryan, so I was able to get a little bit input about him. Um, and yeah, it was just it turned into a lot more than what I'd intended it to be, which was fun. It was a lot of fun.
It's wonderful. Yeah, check it out at his website. It goes into click farther along. It gets far. It's gets in more detail. Yeah, if you just
Yeah.
click, you just see a little bit, but you click some more, you can get some really good graphics and good statistics on the team. And you also have a way of like now explain how you how athletes can be alerted that that photo galleries are available.
Well, I mean, I think probably the most the easiest way is you know, through Instagram or through West Coast XC. But I what I've started doing is, you know, before a race happens, I'll set up a pre-notification where people can sign up. You're basically signing up for a newsletter, and then as soon as my gallery goes up, I'll send you an email before anything's even posted anywhere. And then you know, and once you sign up, you're signed up as long as you don't unsubscribe. And then, and I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna send people emails on, you know, little local meets and stuff like that. That typically just gonna do that for the bigger meets.
Yeah, and you've been to some big meets. You went to the Washington State meet in November, the track meet in the spring, and then you went to NXR Spokane and
Yeah,
the West Side Classic, which is the qualifier that goes into the state
yeah,
meets, John Payne, and then there's track meets in the springtime too. So I would encourage people to subscribe, and if you're up in Washington or if you're just a major super fan and want to know everything West Coast, Russell's your person. So thank you, and your NXN. By the time this comes out, your NXN photos will all be out. You got to check out his photos; they're going to be amazing. Last year's photos were amazing. And let's talk about NXN. Two races, just two races. Boys went first. In both races, I kind of want to give a preview to the girls' race too. There was predictions of who might win it individually, who might win it for the team, and that kind of worked out. But there's also, as this meet is happens, things don't work out for a lot of people too.
yeah.
And I have some theories, Russell. Hang in there with my theories. Here are my
Yep.
few theories why some things don't work out. The first is it's the course. It has two big hills, and it's a golf course that really takes in a lot of rain and becomes very dense, and I think it wears people out a little bit. My second theory is I think for some kids, let's say you are although Seahome ran really well. Let's say you're Seahome and you're used to going to an invitational and just having you're just dominating it. This is a very strange situation where there's zillions of girls around you. And And Seaholm was able to fight through that. But some schools and some kids, it's so disorienting to have so many good people. I think Rich Gonzalez, who was the person at the awards with the microphone, said there were 72 state champions in that meet. 72 state champions. So those kids are used to being in front. It's got to be
Yeah.
disorienting. And then finally, it's just a long season. It's just got to be exhausting mentally and physically. And then you're going to Nike and meeting all these famous athletes, and you're staying in a hotel. It's just you're flying across the country or wherever you're flying from. It could be a little bit overwhelming. But I will say one thing, Russell. The American Southwest teams, none of that affects them. It doesn't rain very much there. It doesn't, they have to fly here. Boys and girls, the Southwest dominates. There are no excuses for them. Congratulations to them. So let's talk about the boys race. Gun goes off. What were some of your recollections of the boys race?
Well, I was pretty honed in on, the far side over there where the Northwest boys were, and the Jesuit guys. I can't remember who all else was down there. Harriman was down there, I believe. Um, um, I was interested to see the start itself, how slippery it was going to be. Did you have a chance to walk on the course at all?
Other than going from where they introduced the athletes to the starting line, I just walk. I was trying my best to stay on the concrete. There's a little concrete path, but I didn't really, other than going through the slop behind the starting line, which was very messy.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
tried my
so
best.
you got a feel of it.
Yeah, it was messy. I mean, my daughter was there taking pictures, and she was certain I was going to fall sometime during the meet. But I tried my best to take the route of like where a golf cart would go on, where there's like a paved area, because I didn't think it looked pretty sloppy.
Yeah, it was very mushy. I went and I kind of walked around the course a little bit before everything got going, about 8:30, 9 o'clock. And I mean, there were spots where I was walking across and my shoe, like, I mean, the mud almost covered the top of my toe.
Okay.
And I can't imagine, running through that, even in spikes. But I was interested to see how the start was. I mean, last year, I got that really cool photo of like everybody slipping and everybody's kind of, over each other. And that didn't happen so much this year, but, going through my photos, there was definitely some guys that had to, sort of half step it to stay upright.
Yeah.
Coming out of there. But, I think, part of the start for me, I really like is just before the start, seeing everybody, and how they are carrying themselves. I think that's pretty telling of what you might expect during the race.
Yeah, and it's I was looking through my lens and I was trying to look for the teams that are on the West Coast, and that was green for this Northwest, kind of a pinkish reddish for the California schools, and some of the California schools had a gray and black. And then individually, California, I think all the individuals had like a white tank top, but with the California kids, it was like a pink on it, like the team uniforms, and the Northwest had a little bit of a green tinge to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was white. So I was constantly trying to find those kids. I was taking pictures of everybody, but it'd be nice if I could pull off the kids.
Yeah,
on the West Coast.
It's very, very difficult to figure out who's who. I know with the Northwest kids, you had Portland, Forest Park, the Northwest individuals. I mean, they were all in some sort of green, so it was like, who am I taking pictures of? In some of those, really tight spots you couldn't really see, and you just hope you get the right person.
Right. And so the winner is Niwot from Colorado. They won it last year. That is so impressive. They scored 61 points, which is the lowest point total, beat the Newbury Park point total, which is like one of the legendary NXN teams. To win it 2 years in a row is super duper impressive. Harriman finished the second. They're always in the top three. They won it 2 years ago. Lynn Croft is the name of the team. That's Christian Brothers of New Jersey. They won it in 2011 or 12, but they're always somewhere in the top three. So it was kind of predictable. A lot of our West Coast teams didn't do as well. The two Jesuit teams were expected to be up there, and they had a disappointing day. The So that was kind of a bummer for the kids out in the West Coast. Sorry about that. But gosh, you got to take your hat off to Niwot. 2 years in a row. That is not easy to do. Just people graduate. People get injured. People get sick.
Yeah, I mean, when to put it on perspective, you got, the whole country funneling into this one race, and I mean, you look from, one end of the starting line to the other, and it's nothing but stars. It's the
Yeah.
kids you hear about, like you said, um, everybody there is used to winning.
Right. And so then on the individual side, a person that they thought might win it was Jackson Spencer. I got to see him run at Woodbridge. I got to see him run at Clovis. He won both races. He won both races by a lot. Doesn't mean he'd win this meet by a lot. There's so many good kids, but he did win it by a couple seconds, 15:01.1. Johannes Van Meerten is a junior of Flagstaff. He'll be back next year. He was second at 15:03, and then just gets in front of Caden Leonard of South Lake Carroll. And Caden Leonard finished third last year, and I watched him at the awards, and he looked pretty disappointed. Were you at the awards
Well,
too?
no, I had taken off, but I mean, yeah, I mean, I went down to the start line and was just
Right.
trying to, see how it was over there before the girls came down.
Yeah. Yeah, but he was really obviously disappointed. I think he really, wanted to win that, and he seemed really bummed out. But there's nothing to be ashamed of finishing third. Caden Leonard of
No,
South Lake Carroll, 2 years in a row, top three. So that was pretty cool. They invited Marcelo Montagon of Florida, and he finishes fourth. He got invited at the last minute because his state meet was the same weekend as NXR. But we did have some pretty good showing from kids from the West, and particularly a couple kids from the Northwest. In fact, I want to give a big shout out to our Northwest boys that 4 of the 5 finishers were in the top 50, and then the one that wasn't was Cohen Butler, who was like 58th or something like that. So
yeah,
the boy, we saw them in Spokane. They ran really well.
and yeah, and Cohen finishing where he was really surprising. And when he finished, you could tell he was, a bit frustrated. And he seemed fine. You just never know on the day what held him up.
He told me, I talked to him afterwards. He told me that he'd been struggling with some injuries, and so maybe he hadn't been able to train full out like he normally would.
Yeah.
But still, there's 220 kids. It's still a pretty good finish, and we mentioned there's
Yeah.
so many all stars. But
Yeah.
Jaden Warner of Warrenton finishes 8th. So he's an
Amazing.
All-American.
Yeah.
Yusuke Shibata finishes 23rd for South Eugene. He's a junior. He'll be back next year. Had a really great season. Garrett
Yeah,
Fox
he
of
did.
Crater, 24th. He's a sophomore.
hmm
Russell, you know what
Yeah.
it's like to be a high school boy and being a sophomore. You just get stronger every year.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, and one of the things it actually was the first time I mean, I guess it wasn't the first time I'd been at a race he was at because he would have been at NXR, but it was the first time I was able to really, focus on him a little bit, and yeah, he seems to carry himself well, very confident. Um, and yeah, I'm excited to see what he does next season.
And then a kiddo from your state, Dylan Roble of Anacortes, finishes 45th.
Yeah,
Top 50 with all those all-stars is just an impressive day for the
yeah,
Northwest. And then a shout out to Cohen Butler too. He wasn't that far off from being in the top 50 himself. So good showing by the Northwest kids. And so then we go to the girls race, and you and I were there at the start, and it was a very unusual start. Do you want to describe the start?
yeah. So, I'll tell the story from my perspective, the way
Okay.
that, sort of I experienced it. I'm sitting there as they, have the girls, ready themselves on the line, and they're, I don't know if a whistle sounds that. I can't remember what, kind of notifies them to do that, but it goes silent, and I've got my lens, right on the Seahome girls,
Yeah.
and and um and I'm like, wow, this is really taking a long time. This is unlike, NXN. I feel like it's pretty good about bam, 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 let's go. And
That was
then
my
and then they
memory
blew the
too.
whistle,
Yeah.
and then they blew the whistle twice. And I mean, I would guess probably 30 or 40 girls stepped off the line. Some took off, and then, the official yells, back to the start. and there were several girls who didn't get back to the start when they blew the start gun,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Oh no," and they're trying to get back, back in the pack, and yeah, it was. I mean, all the parents. I was over in the crowd with the parents. Ooh, they were mad.
Yeah. I was with, I don't know if it was parents or coaches. They were mad too. And
Yeah,
what I try to do, and you'll see at the beginning and the end of this broadcast, is I try to like take a video of some portion of the race and just do like a 10-second little video at the beginning, at the end. So I was thinking, it's kind of hard to take pictures. There's only 2 races. I think last year I tried to take pictures and do video at the same time. It was really hard. I go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sacrifice the start. I will video the
yeah.
start for like 10 seconds. So I do the boys. That went great. On the girls' side, I think I held the video was going on for 16 seconds. They held
Wow.
them a really long time.
Yeah,
Then when I saw that the girls had stumbled across the line, I mean, they weren't really racing. They were just like, they just lost their balance. They were there forever.
yeah,
I turned off my phone to redo another video because nothing happened and the gun went off. So I was unprepared for the start, but that doesn't matter if I was unprepared. My cameraman. The
yeah.
athletes were unprepared. I don't know. That was very bizarre. It seems as though the line judge at the starting line needed to do, they weren't communicating with the guy that was way out there that shot the gun the way out there.
Yeah, and I kind of thought about that too. I was like, well, the guy who fired the starting gun probably had no idea because there was at least 2 or 3 girls whose backs, they were facing the start line when the
Yeah.
gun went. They weren't even ready, and they were all like trying to turn around.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that.
I then stood at the 1 mile mark for the boys, and the boys were just one monster pack, but the girls were a little more strung out. They were kind of going for it.
Yeah,
And so, and you had like 3 girls, Natasha Dudek, Blair Bartlett, a girl from Wayzata, and Jalen Williams of California. They just kind of went out a little harder, strung it out a
yeah.
little bit, and not dramatically, but just it was like the pack was a little bit thinner. And where were you stationed in the race? Where did you see the girls?
I was on the probably the opposite side you were at the start, and then after that I ran right if you go towards the start line, where they kind of loop around, kind of do a
Uh-huh.
little lollipop there, you
Yeah.
kind of catch them going both ways. That's kind of what I was, hitting those 2 spots.
Okay.
But yeah, they were all, I mean, there was a big pack, but they were pretty strung out because and I didn't even realize it till I started looking at my photos how strung out they really were. Because like the boys' photos when they came through there, it was just a herd.
It was huge. Yeah.
Yeah,
They were
yeah,
kind of waiting for somebody to make the move, which they eventually did, but it was
yeah,
pretty conservative for the boys at the beginning. The girls were spread out. And then Jalen Williams of Eastlake, when I saw her maybe 1,000 meters to go, I'm not exactly sure. They kind of come by the finish line. They still have to do another loop around the
yeah,
shorter part of the course. And maybe that's 4,000 or 3.5 miles, or I'm sorry, 3.5K. She had a pretty good lead. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we got a California girl that's going to win this, because she had a pretty good lead on Blair and Natasha at that point. And so then I got to the finish line. You could see the scoreboard. You could see the video. You could hear the crowd go, ooh, because that last hill at the finish line,
oh yeah, yeah,
it really compromises you. And poor Jalen was getting caught by Blair and Natasha, and she got past. Still finished third, which is incredible. And Tasha Dudek wins it from Ann Arbor. She's a sophomore. Blair Bartlett, I think I read somewhere, she's from New Jersey, Lawrenceville, New Jersey. It's her first time running cross country. I think I read that somewhere, her first season of all things. So
Well,
that's
first season.
yeah, what a season.
Yeah.
So they go 1, 2, 3, but they were kind of expected a little bit to win it, be in the top 3. I think Jalen Williams maybe a little bit of a surprise. Although I saw her at the California State meeting, she looked really good. I want to mention a girl that they also thought would be in there too, and her name is Avery Lowen of Bowdoin High School in Georgia. She finishes 6th. Somewhere along the course, she took a massive tumble and got
Well,
back
there
up.
was there was I got like the tail end of her starting to get up.
Okay.
I just like resituated myself, and of course, it always happens when you're not, when you're not taking the picture. But yeah, I mean, she fell and got right back up. But yeah, I mean, it throws you off
It does.
big time.
Yeah, and so I was trying to figure out when that happened, but it looks like I think I know where you were situated. When I saw them at the mile mark, her legs were pretty dirty, which could be anything. Of course, it was so muddy, but it looked like she had already fallen by then. And so that kind of messed up her chances, unfortunately. Last year, Caden Leonard, I don't know if you know this, I stood where Caden Leonard, the boy from South Lake Carroll, he took a huge fall and got up and finished
Yeah,
third. So that was pretty
still finished
amazing.
third. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, maybe the adrenaline kicked in.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. You
Yeah,
get up and like you're just pumped. And so anyway, we should go over the team results here. Wayzata was kind of predicted to win. They did, but it wasn't a big win. Niwot was only 5 points behind. What a great day for
yeah,
Niwot High School in
yeah,
Boulder, Colorado. The boys win it. The girls finished second by just about 5 points. Really
yeah. It's
close.
close.
Yeah, for that many teams, 22 really competitive teams. That's very close. What a great day for them. Union Catholic of New Jersey finishes third. I want to mention, and maybe I didn't mention this in the boys' race, Niwot, Lone Peak, Heritage, the Southwest region. Lone Peak in Utah, Heritage and Niwot are in Colorado. So three of the top five. I'm going to go back to the boys. Was it like Niwot, Harriman, 1-2, American Fork, 5. So the Southwest and the boys go 1-2-5. The girls go 2-4-5. So hats off to cowboy hats, maybe, to the Southwest athletes who are doing so well. The team that you covered, Seaholm,
Yep.
was the highest finishing West Coast team, with Tribuca Hills right there at 11, and 13 was Maricosta. So Seaholm, I think they were kind of predicted to finish 11th or 12th, maybe. I think they were ranked that early.
Yeah, I think they were ranked. I think they were like 13th in some of the polls that went out, and then 14th in some of the others, which I thought was, probably about right. I mean, like you were saying in the beginning, they just dominate the 2A all season long, and it's like, okay, what's going to happen when they really face some talent? I mean, not that other people aren't talented, but top talent, and very impressive.
Yeah, so if they were like ranked 13th or 14th, finishing 10th, they've got to feel pretty good about that. And
Yeah.
Russell's explaining that they're in the 2A division in Washington. There's a big difference in the school size of a 4A school. That's the
Oh yeah.
largest school size in Washington. And the 2A schools, the 4A and 3A are fairly competitive with each other, but 2A
Yeah.
is much smaller. And so that's super. I think they might be, I think they're the first 2A school to make it to NXN from Washington.
Well, yeah, and one thing I want to note is that the two seniors on the team would be their 6 and 7 runners.
Yes.
So I'm gonna tell you right now, next season's, yeah, I'm excited. I hope they go again.
Yeah.
So
They were young last year too. Their freshman,
yeah,
sophomore kids were really strong last year also. So
yeah,
they return a lot of their firepower, and they got experience. They got a chance to get on the course, and that's going to be huge.
yeah,
And so on the girls side, we mentioned the girls individually. We're going to talk about an athlete from your neck of the woods. Cassidy Armstrong of Ballard finishes 18th.
amazing.
Amazing. I interviewed her at NXR, and I asked her how she felt about making NXN, and she said that she's only been running twice a week. Twice a week.
Yeah, I
And
mean, yeah, me and you talked about earlier in the season. Where's Cassidy Armstrong?
yeah.
And then she just, shows up at state and has a fantastic day. And then she shows up at NXR, has a fantastic day. And then she shows up at NXN, has a fantastic day. So don't forget about Cassidy Armstrong.
Yeah, so she must be nursing an injury, recovering from an injury, and she told me that at not Boise, sorry, in Spokane. They moved me to Spokane, NXR, that she thought that the course was flat, just like being on an elliptical machine, which she has been training on. She's all on elliptical, and so her
Okay.
fitness level is unbelievable. If she can finish 18th with all those excellent athletes.
Yeah.
I want to point out a few other West Coast athletes from the previous week's California State meet. Amaya Bardaj of Palo Alto finishes 20th. Summer Wilson, 23rd. I heard her name in the first half mile that she was like up in first place for a bit. Ella McGonim of Link Wilmerding That's Todd's neighborhood out in the north coast section of, not too far from where Todd lives. And Chibuco Hills, Millie Bales finished 35th. Alo Curtis of Ventura finishes 40th. And Nellie Delgas of North Salem, back to the Northwest, she finishes 45th, had a really great season. Yeah, so a really, really fun event. Again, I love the different uniform colors. Yeah, I love the Finnish corral where all the kids are in there with all the different colors and hugging each other, and all some kids are on the ground, they're exhausted in the mud. It's quite an event.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think the finish of these, big races like this, especially NXN, are incredibly unique because everybody that's gotten there is sort of, cut from the same fabric, and they're all, they've all having the same experience all week long. And just to go out there and finish and compete, I think is just a, sort of a relief. I made it out of this thing alive.
Right. And then they have like an epic party at the Embassy Suites on Saturday night and just get
Yeah.
to have some fun and then take some time off. That's a long season for all these kids. Some will be going off to San Diego for Brooks, so it's not quite over for some of them. So
Yeah.
let me ask you about your off season. What do you just take a break from photography, or do you what do you do in the wintertime?
Well, kind of my game plan this year is I'm trying to build a photography business. And that's sort of circled around, doing senior portraits. I did the photo shoot with Catherine from Stadium High School before the cross country season, and that was a fantastic experience, and I absolutely loved it. Like I would, if there's other kids out there that want to do stuff like that, like hit me up. Let's go. Tell your parents to reach out to me.
Okay, for those people watching in Washington, Russell lives in Olympia. You know your geography of Washington, and you also and the young lady from Stadium is from Tacoma, not very far.
Yep.
So if you're near Olympia, Russell's here to do some senior photos as we're getting close to that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, and I'm probably gonna just try to study up on, all these track kids coming into track season, and I've almost settled on I'm gonna be like you, Ken, and I'm gonna focus on distance runners. I mean, not 100%. I will
Yeah, I know.
dedicate some of my time.
I feel really
It's hard.
bad because a sprinter will come up to me and ask where you can get photos, and it's just
It's so much.
it's a lot of it's a lot of editing. It's just a lot of editing, and so that it's just you never it's hard to get your pictures out. Like I stayed for USATF. I'm not finished with those, and the longer you don't
Yeah.
get those out, the less likely people will see them, and so I do
Right.
focus on distance running in the spring, and that gives me a little bit of time, maybe a half hour to an hour between the next distance race to do a little bit of editing at the meet. So that's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
my thing and what I do, or I can actually eat or something, or use the restroom
Yeah.
or something like that. So that's part of the reason I feel bad for all the other events. There are some meets I do, like Arcadia and the state meet. I'll get around and do the field events and sprints also. But yeah, it's hard. But that is my strategy. It sounds like you're picking up on that strategy too. Well, Russell, I appreciate your effort. I'm looking forward to seeing your NXN photos. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna say below my chin right here is your Instagram
yeah.
handle too, so they can find it on your bio.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much for having me on.
You're welcome, and we will see you in the spring.
All right. See you.
This Saturday marks the last high school cross country meet of the season, which is the Brooks Cross Country Championship held at Morley Sports Field Complex at the Balboa Park in San Diego. Now, in the past, this has been called the Foot Locker meet at the same location, the same weekend. Similar format, individual girls, individual boys, 4 regions qualify. Everything will probably feel the same when we get there, except the branding will be different. The one thing that will be different is Brooks with Fleet Feet, they had a system where they gave out these magic golden tickets to various athletes, so they didn't have to run the regional meet. And so it gave kids a chance not to race too much. And then for the kids on the West who can't do NXN and the Western Regional, they got them a chance to run in the race on Saturday. And so at 9:15, the girls will race first, and the meet is loaded with fantastic runners that actually ran well last week in Portland. So Natasha Dudek was the NXN champion. She returns this weekend to see if she can win 2 in a row. A girl has never done that. It's happened once with the boys. From Ann Arbor Pioneer, the winner of NXN, Natasha Dudek. Blair, by the way, her sister won this event about 6, 7, 8 years ago in the late 2010s. Blair Bartlett of Lawrenceville High School in New Jersey is also in this race. She finished second at NXN. Avery Lowen of Bowden in Georgia finished sixth at NXN. She took a tumble at the beginning of the race, which probably affected her finish. Jalen Williams finished third at NXN. She's from Eastlake High School, and that's in Chula Vista, just in the San Diego section, San Diego area. So that'll be really fun because whenever there's a San Diego athlete, the fans really come out and support them. Summer Wilson of Irvine set the California State Meet course record at Woodward Park. She'll be racing. Abigail Hennessy of Westford Academy won Northeast Brooks title. Emma Hoffman of Otsego High School finished fifth at NXN. She'll be at the meet. Maddie Gullickson of Wayzata finished seventh at NXN and led her team to the championship. She'll be there. Lily Alder of Timpview. She won NXR Southwest and finished 12th at NXN. She'll be there. Addie Ritzenheim won NXN in 2023. She's from Niwot, helped her team finish second at NXN, and she'll be racing. Some of the West Coast athletes that'll be competing, since we have a West Coast angle, is the mention of Jalen Williams of Eastlake and Summer Wilson of Irvine, both in California, Eastlake in the San Diego area, and Irvine in Orange County. I mentioned them earlier, but also Braylon Combe of Santiago Corona will be racing. Carol Dye of Santa Margarita will also be competing. Kiara Daly of La Jolla will be competing. It'll be her fourth time racing that course. La Jolla is also a local athlete from the San Diego area, and her parents ran that meet too. Eliana Patterson of Christian School of San Diego area, another San Diego athlete. That'll be fun. Farrah Allen of Branson in Northern California near San Rafael. Giselle Fernandez of Riverbank in the Central Valley. She has a very famous brother that set all kinds of records in California. And so those are some of the athletes that'll be competing at 9:15. And then quickly we go to the 10:05 race for the boys race. Similar to the girls race, because of the golden ticket, there are some athletes that are coming from NXN that did really well there. For instance, Jackson Spencer of Harriman, he won NXN last Saturday, and he will be at the Brooks Cross Country Championship. And he's won a lot of things this year. He set the course record in Utah. He set the course record at Woodward Park in Clovis, won Woodbridge. He just knows how to win. Sean Fries of Minnetonka was one of the athletes who was hoping to be in the podium at NXN. He still finished seventh. He'll be there. Caden Leonard of South Lake Carroll has finished third at NXN for 2 straight years. He'll be up there. Marcella Montagon of Belline Jesuit finished fourth at NXN. He is a junior. Johannes Van Meerten, runner-up at NXN, also a junior from Flagstaff High School. This is going to be incredible. These guys will be going at it one more time. Lucas Tanner from DeForest High School in Wisconsin. He finished second at the Brooks Midwest. Kamari Aronfelt of Ann Arbor Pioneer finished third at the Brooks Midwest. Ann Arbor Pioneer is the same school as Natasha Dudek. So 2 athletes from the same school. That's pretty awesome. Calvin Seitz of Spring Valley High School, Indiana, won the Brooks Midwest, a very tough region to get out of. Sam Lavidiere of Lake Region in Maine won Brooks Northeast. And second in the Brooks Northeast was Nathan Lee of Brunswick High School in Connecticut. And then Paul Van Lanningham of Cooper High School in Kentucky, he finished ninth at NXN. So pretty loaded nationally. We do have some West Coast athletes represented. They ran at Foot Locker, and one received a golden ticket. Andres Lamelli of Kimball High School out in Tracy, California, he qualified. Blake Bay had a fantastic season for Fresno Christian. He gets to extend his season. Braulio Castillo of West Ranch up in the Santa Clarita area, in Magic Mountain area, he qualified. Connor Lott of Clovis North ran NXN last week and got a golden ticket and gets to run again this week in San Diego. Josiah Bowman of Sage Creek also qualified. Want to mention Sage Creek is in Carlsbad, which is a suburb of San Diego. So there'll be some San Diego interest in that also. And so that's the setup, as this is not a team event, it's an individual event, although they do score the West and the East and the Midwest and the South as a team. And maybe with some of these golden tickets, the West will be competitive this year with the other three regions. And so I'm looking forward to being in San Diego for this meet. It's one of my favorite events. I guess it's a new event with Brooks putting it on. It'll be interesting to see how they do it. We will have 3 cameras on the course. My wife, Diane, and my daughter, Anna, will be there with cameras. I'll be there with my camera. We should be able to get a lot of photos. And so if you're running the race, you can get photos from us. And if you're just interested in what happened, please check out our photos that we'll have after the meet is over. And so we're looking forward to the Brooks Cross Country National Championship on Saturday. Well, I want to thank Russell Moore for coming on and talking about the NXN meet that was in Portland, Oregon this weekend. Again, you can check out his website, to check out his blog. His website's right below me here. And check out his photos, too, on his website. Or his Instagram account, too, which you can also see below me. And check out his beautiful photos, not just of NXN, but for all the meets that he's gone to. He's really pretty talented photographer. And we also had a chance to catch up with Cohen Butler of Camas. Thank you for coming on. Again, it's the second time he's been on. And also Jaden Warner, who I have spoken to for the third time. So I appreciate those athletes coming on and talking with me. And as I mentioned just in the segment before, we'll be at Brooks and we'll have lots of cameras. And we're looking forward to capturing as many kids as possible and getting those out to you so you can download those photos for free. Until next time, remember that the West Coast is the best coast.